My guest who's with me today is someone that I'm very proud of. I think, full disclosure, she's my cousin, but she's also someone who I personally find very, very inspiring because I feel like she's been very bold and made some very bold choices over the course of her life that have inspired me and no doubt inspired people around her as well. So without further ado, I'm very happy to welcome Bolanle Okusanya-Feyita to the show. I feel odd.
Very exciting.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
This is odd. So I'm sitting here with you. We're just going to do this like the cameras are not here. Okay. So, what do you do, Bolanle, before we get into
the big question? What do I do? What do I not do?
Yes.
So, first, I'm a makeup artist. I started doing makeup in like the late 90s. On one side of my life. On the other side of my life, I'm also a funeral director. A third generation funeral director. That's so amongst other things.
Two parts. Maybe 10, 100 parts. Bolanle is also a wife, a mother. Yes. She's a fantastic cook. There was a time when I thought you were going to be doing catering full time.
Yes, my mom used to do catering.
Yes, I knew that. I remember that.
Yes. But I'm one of those people that really think, just because you can
doesn't mean
you should. Like most people, there's a lot of things that we could possibly do.
How you then decide which of all the things that you can do, what you focus on, and what you choose to pursue. You were one of the first people I knew who went into makeup full time. So what I wanted to ask is, because you studied something else in school that had nothing to do with makeup. At what point did you know or decide or think this is something I can do full time?
When I finished university, my classmates and most people were doing graduate positions, and I applied for loads. Okay. But I couldn't get one of those graduate positions, and I just tried and I tried, but it didn't happen. But then in the meantime, I thought, what? While I'm waiting for this job to come through, makeup is something I already started doing. Why don't I invest more time in doing it? So obviously I had time on my hands. So I invested that time in working more in makeup. Okay. After a while, I was earning more than doing the job. So I just thought, after a while, what's the point?
And you were enjoying what you were doing.
And I loved doing it. After a while, I realized that makeup was something that was very powerful. In the sense that you could change the way somebody feels about themselves. You could see somebody who wouldn't look you in the eyes. But after you did their makeup and they liked what they saw, they were a lot more confident. So I realized that it was a tool.
But did you ever feel, was there any point where you felt you were working in retail and maybe people would look at you funny, people you went to school with, they work in the office? Did you ever have that kind of
My life struggle? Was so busy that I didn't really have opportunities to think that way. And I always looked for different, makeup is very diverse. I worked in theatre, so we did different shows, different times. I did some television work. I worked in retail as well, did a lot of weddings. I didn't really care.
Okay.
To be honest, I didn't really care.
That's the boldness I'm talking about. We come from a society, a culture where people put a lot of emphasis on image and so it's at the time we're talking about. If you go to school, you get a job in a good office. You get a job in and people ask you, where do you work? I work at HSBC. I work at EY, and that's the status. So for you,
that's your sense of achievement,
and that's where your sense of self comes from.
Initially, I thought, I have to get a job. I've gone to Imperial College, spent so much money. At least the least I can do for my parents is to let them be able to say, oh yes, my daughter works for Morgan Stanley or something like that. But then I realized that it just wasn't working for me. I felt that was like a stifling environment. The more you grow up as an adult, you have to make those judgments where you have to work for money. It's just irresponsible if you don't. But then you also have to do something that you love. And the best job is when you can find something that works for both.
As you said earlier, that just because you can doesn't mean you should. But for people who are contemplating and trying to figure out, okay, what should I do? Should I leave my full-time job and pursue my passion? Should I start this business? How do you make that judgment call?
See, the thing about it is this. everybody now thinks that being an entrepreneur is trendy. Who's going to work for the entrepreneurs?
But that's something that I
mean, it's one of the things that really bothers me.
It bothers me as well.
Everybody thinks that to be successful, you have to be an entrepreneur. You have to start your own business. And then you're starting up these businesses that are flops. The reality I think is that you have to get a job, and there's nothing more beautiful than setting up a business from a place where you're not hungry. The jobs, makeup jobs I did, honestly, if they paid me £5, I'd be very grateful because I was hungry. I had bills to pay. So it's very important for people to just get a job in you, whatever you're trained to, whatever you can get, and continue doing the thing that you're passionate about until it overrides it.
But I think that along, during our lives, there's several opportunities, or even sometimes necessity means that we have to reinvent, we have to start again, we have to, do what we had never imagined that we would be doing. Did you ever think there was a time when you would be doing a funeral business? Never. For those who may be watching who don't know, Bolanle's father was Tunji Okusanya, and her brother is Tunji Okusanya Jr. And they ran MIC. MIC, what's the full? Funerals. And they died in a plane crash. I think it was October 2013.
Yes, October 3rd,
2013. I know that I was in Nigeria, you were here. But if it's not too hard, that day, with everything that was going on, I guess what was uppermost on your mind?
I thought there's always been, honestly, there's always been at the back of my mind that I think to myself, what if my dad died? What if my mom died? Living the life of a child of an undertaker. So when the day happened, it was like an out of body experience. I mean, one of the things that has kept me as consistent about my life is my faith and my belief in Christ. So what I was conscious of was that my faith would not fail. I thought to myself, I have to get through this, was what was at the back of my mind. Looking back at that time now, I still can't believe how I coped, because I was under a lot of pressure in every area. I had just had a baby, a second child as well. I think that I always wanted to look back and think I made the best decision at that time. You have to live your life where you build yourself up, you build your strength up.
But where does that strength come from? Where did you get that presence of God?
I think it really comes from God.
I remember looking at you then, that time, from afar and thinking, how is Bolanle doing this? I mean, I'm a woman of faith as well, but I couldn't understand where, and I came close to you and I was like, she's not faking it.
The reality is that in the time of challenge is really when your faith will come. I don't think that I don't think there's anything unusual about me. I just think that God will give you the grace
you need to get through
for that season of your life. At that time, I remember doing my brother's funeral, and I remember, it was just like I had to rise up within myself. I had faced a lot of different challenges.
And did you feel like you had to be strong for your mom? And did you feel that?
The thing is, my mom was very strong in herself. Obviously, we all had we have our ups and downs. And the thing with it is that we still do. If I think about it too much, I could well up in tears now. So it's not that grief is not something for me. There's no end point. So you could say, I know that if you think about your mom in death, when did your mom pass away?
Almost 20 years ago.
Almost 20 years. But it still doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away. I know that for sure. And it's like you said, if I have to talk about it for too long, I still
get very emotional about it.
Yeah. But like you said, in the time when you have to be strong, strength comes from somewhere. Strength comes from somewhere. When did you begin to realize that you were now going to step into these shoes and that you were going to start LTJ?
When my dad died, I just really it was a practical thing. Look, I had my dad and my brother, and then we had 4 of our staff who automatically became my staff. And it was really a matter of just being practical. Okay, look, we have 6 people to bury now. What do we do? And then we had, as a business, we had a lot of people who had paid. People just kept bringing their receipts. I've paid though. We had to deal with all those things. So it wasn't a matter of...
There's no time
for you to really think about it. And yeah, that's really... So then I ran the company for a while and it was just going. You know, the hours were like 5 a.m., finish at 10 p.m., 11 p.m. And I thought, I'm going to die if I continue like this. I haven't even had any time to grieve. So I thought, you know what, the best thing for me is just take some time off and just relax like a normal person. Because
in doing this, your family was here in London.
My family
and you were now in between in Nigeria, going back and forth.
So physically very exhausting, mentally, emotionally, you know, it could kill you. So I thought, you know what, I'm not going to die by my own fault of killing myself with so much work. I'm going to take a little time off work. But then, you know, my brother was coming up to his he was just 30.
Yeah.
So he was going to get married the next year. And I thought to myself that over time, after a while, I started coming to the realization that over time his name would easily just fade away. So I thought, you know what, my brother died doing something he loved. My dad died doing something he loved, which is serving people. I wanted something that every time anybody saw it, it would be a memorial to them. So I thought, okay, if I did a memorial statue, it's not the same thing. But LTJ for me and the Bolanle Okusanya Memorial Foundation is actually therapeutic.
Okay.
So in serving people, I find healing for my own grief, because the majority of the work that we do that people see is the more glamorous funerals. We do funerals of people that lost their only child. You know, and what do you tell to somebody who has lost their only child that they prayed for? I think this lady prayed for 15 years to have that one child, and the boy died at 21.
Oh my God.
Just finishing university. I have so many stories like that. So it's not just the lush funerals. It's all sorts of people. People don't choose when they die. So for me, I have lost a younger brother. I have lost a parent. You have lost a sibling. So I used to be able to empathize with them, but now I can feel it.
And so what does the Bolanle Okusanya Memorial Foundation do? Okay,
so the foundation really set up to help people that want education. When my brother and dad died, I found out some people I knew they were paying for their education. A lot of people we found out after that they never knew. So supporting people that need help for basic education, and also helping people check their own health. A lot of people just drop dead and they say it's spiritual. It's not spiritual. They just have high blood pressure that has never been checked. You know, doing that kind of thing. And cemetery care. That's one thing that my brother was really proud. In fact,
I remember reading an article that
the day before he died, it had a double page in one of the newspapers about his work. And really, a lot of times you find more people are buried. That's it. What happens to the grave care? Who's going to look out? Yes. Yeah. So those are the things. Okay. Those are the things that we do.
Okay. So we've talked a lot about, you know, I think it's actually the juxtaposition between you being a makeup artist and probably doing a lot of work at weddings. You see that aspect of life. And then now doing what you do, and you know, this is something that you've always kind of been involved with. This is the business of funerals, death. That's another aspect of life. You have a perspective that a lot of us lay people probably don't have about life, what it means to live this life, how to live and how to die. Actually,
so, how I put it that way, I haven't thought about it like that.
It's true, because you know, it's most of us just go about our life. Many people, average people, they don't even want to talk about it. You come to them and talk to them about even life insurance and like, please, I'm not going to die, especially our society. You know, so you see people at weddings. You know, you're as a makeup artist, you're around the family. There's a lot of stress around weddings, families. You see people's true colors, but I don't think you really see people's true colors the way like you do when there's a death in the family.
You know, the thing about it is that when somebody dies, when there's grief, you don't know how you will react. You don't know. The people don't know. So then it's those things inside of them that really come out. In all these things, what I realized that is core is you developing your inner self. So that inner self is always rational. So when people are crying and wailing, that self will restrain you. When the chips are down, who is going to be there for you? I know people that when I, in my own grief, people that I didn't even know sent me money. I didn't know that well because they thought about it and they thought, you know what, maybe this girl would need a little bit of money to help because there will be all sorts of unplanned expenses. You have people bring. We had to tell people, please don't make us food anymore. We physically don't have anywhere to put this food. Who just thought, you know what, they're so busy, they probably need to eat, they don't have time, we'll cook them something. I have people who just made clothes for me that were dark because they knew in that time I wouldn't be able to wear bright clothes. So it's really a time where you know a different, you know a different side of yourself and you know a different side of the people around you. I looked at myself and I thought, well, I hope wherever my dad or my brother, they'll be proud of the person that I am. You know, you want to be the kind of person that even whenever the grief happens, you'll be proud of the choices that you make. At the end of the day, what is your life all about? What are you going to be known that you lived for? But that I don't want to say that in the context of what are you going to be known, because not everybody's going to be known. That doesn't mean that their life hasn't been fulfilling.
Well, we're known, but maybe not known on a global stage or a national stage, but even within your family, within your community, your own sphere of influence.
Yes. What are you really going to have lived for? There has to be something more. The purpose for which I'm alive has to be more than my hair, my makeup, my jewelry,
my clothes.
There has to be something more than that.
Okay.
How do you bring up your children? What kind of vibe do you live? Some people come in and they just live a negative, bad vibe. Some people come in and everybody just feels happy and lifted up. Those are the kind of things that now matter to me more
than anything
else.
If you were going to talk to somebody, you know, again, bringing this back into the context of life choices, work, business, legacy, what would you say? What couple of words can you say to people about living well and dying well?
Wow.
Not to be morbid, but you know,
I don't know about dying well. I would die there.
When I say dying well, I don't mean how, you know, none of us really has the luxury of choosing how we die.
Yeah.
But you know, the point is, when I say dying well, I mean after you're gone, what is said about you. You know, what do you, you know? So living well to me means, you know, doing work that you're passionate about, being relationships, being a kind person, being a nice person. Dying well means what lives on after you're gone.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I think for me, I don't think I can live my life without being in right relationship with God. I think that I'm so grateful. One of the things I'm so grateful for is I became a Christian at a very young age. And not the Christian in theory. Like, I really gave my heart, my life to Christ. I think that's been the only central thing that has kept me. So regardless of where I am, that is the one consistent thread of my life, my faith. And that has fed into everything. I think that one of the reasons why there's not really much that can move me is because the faith has literally, when the Bible talks about you having your life, and the hymns that talk about Jesus being the anchor of your soul, so that wherever the wind takes you, because life is hard, you know, relationships are hard, family situations are hard,
finances are
finances. Let's not even go there. I come to just realize, let's just leave that.
My God.
That statement that a lot of Nigerians make, that no condition is permanent, is true.
It is true.
Nothing is permanent, and I have to enjoy it today because, you know, whatever situation I'm in, I have to just make the most of that situation, because it's not going to be forever.
Whether it's good, whether it's
bad, it's not going to be forever. It's not going to be forever. So know what you believe and let that be your guide, and just, nothing is going to be forever. There's a time and a season for everything. When my brother and my dad died, I never thought I could laugh again. And I just thought, people are laughing. I look at them and think, they're crazy. What do they have to laugh about? And I felt that everybody should stop laughing.
Yeah, I know that feeling. When don't they know what has happened to me?
They know what happened to you? Well, how can they go on? But, you laugh again. You laugh a lot. You laugh a lot and you can enjoy your life again. And it doesn't mean that whatever has happened to you, whatever challenges you face, it doesn't mean that you walk away from them. It just means that you adjust to a different life without them.
I want to ask you about I don't know if it's the next chapter, but what's next for LTJ? It's been, when did you start LTJ?
LTJ started in 2015.
So it's already 2 years. So it's still early days for me saying what's next. But what's next? Where would you like to see LTJ go?
I can't even believe that we're 2 years, because it feels like we are 50 years. We've done so much work. I'm very grateful. We've come a very long way in a very short time. But we haven't really... The real thing that I want us to do with LTJ is get those conversations going. Parents talking to their children, when I die, this is what I want to happen. I want to happen.
You find that those conversations are not happening.
They're not happening at all.
So what are you doing to facilitate that? Just
one of the things we're doing is the funeral plans.
Okay.
So we're working on that.
Are people receptive to that?
People are begging me to pay for the plans, and we're saying, just hang on a minute. We're working on something.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for opening up and sharing as you have. And thank you for honoring me by being a guest on Chrystallis Conversations. Hopefully we'll have you again soon.
I look forward to it.
I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you come back for the next episode. And in the meantime, don't forget to comment. Join your comments. As I always say, these are conversations that I hope will continue. So please join in, send us emails, let us know what your thoughts are, let us know your feedback, and let me know if there's anybody you think that I should be inviting onto the show. Thank you very much, and see you guys soon.